So just find a comfortable posture, place to sit. And I wanted to share tonight about the way this practice is described as the practice of peace, the path of peace. I thought today would be a good day to reflect on peace. And the Buddha described this practice as, when he described it as the highest happiness, which is peace. It says that our practice is the practice of the highest happiness, which is peace. And so I thought I would share some stories of peace tonight from the practice. Stories of peace in our own heart and peace in the world. This practice of ours which can cultivate peace in the heart and then which offers it to the world. And I want to begin with a sutta, the Ratana Sutta, which talks about the refuges which we often begin with. The refuges of the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And these refuges in this sutta, these refuges are called the three jewels. And the Buddha offered this teaching in the city of Vesali. And he was in the city of Vesali in the middle of a difficult time there. There was a lot of famine, poverty, and he offered these refuges, and this is what he said before he offered them. Whatever beings, human or non-human, are assembled here, terrestrial or celestial, may they all have peace of mind. And so may we all have peace of mind and see or feel or sense into these refuges as places of peace. This refuge of the Buddha, the capacity for peace in our own hearts, making peace in our own hearts. Let's rest into that refuge for a moment. And the refuge of the teachings, knowing that we have these teachings of peace, internal peace, external peace. We have these teachings that we can rest into. Might feel gratitude for that. And then the teachings are the refuge of the community or the Sangha, this community of like-minded people who are also on the path of peace. This feeling the support of that here. Sensing the support of nature, which is a great teacher of peace. And sensing our community in Treaty 6, which is an agreement of peace amongst all peoples across Canada. And so sensing into the body, sitting. We can understand our sitting practice as a peacemaking practice, a cultivation of peace practice. And one of the ways we can understand this is that we can rest into or have the intention of making peace with what's here. And so sensing how the body is feeling right now, sensing the state of the body, feeling it sitting on the chair, supported, sensing the whole body. And then we can scan the body, the feet and the legs, hips and the trunk of the body, shoulders, the arms and the hands, the neck and the head. There may be places of comfort and ease in the body, and there may be places of discomfort, experiences of agitation. We can invite ourselves to be at ease as much as is possible with what's here. Resting back and letting it be as much as we can. We're making peace with what's here as best we're able. Inviting ease in just in the midst of things. Noticing any sense of struggle or pushing against what might be here. And as best we're able, making peace with the way it is right now in the body. And we can turn to the heart, the emotions, and sense what's here in the heart. And as best we're able, make peace with what's here. Allow what's here with ease as best we can. Inviting softness into the heart. Sensing the mind might be busy or agitated, or it might be slower, spacious or close in. However the mind is right now, making peace with the mind, just as it is. Taking a breath, inviting ease. Making peace with how it is right now. And then resting into the sense of the whole body breathing. When the mind moves away to thinking, it'll come back all by itself. Make peace with the mind as it moves. Returning to the anchor of the body and the breath. Another way that we can make peace in our meditation is to look for the places in our experience that may be calm or peaceful right now. Sometimes the agitation calls the attention strongly, and the calm or the peace goes a little bit unnoticed. And so, is there any place in your experience or your body or right now that is calm or peaceful in any way? The hands in your lap, the heaviness of the body, the breath as it breathes all by itself. A sense of settling back, not having to do anything. Simply receive the sensations of the body and the breath. And so as you sense into the anchor this evening in your meditation, returning to the anchor when the mind moves away. Every so often, check in. Where is any calm or peace right now? And see what happens when you notice that. Letting that calm and peace then rest with you as you rest back into the anchor. And the movement of the mind. So good to be with you tonight. If you wish to go to gallery and take a look at everyone and just let the Sangha in, let the community into your heart, feel free to do that and just enjoy this moment of being together. Really enjoy. Just rest into the community. And I wanted to begin tonight's just journey of looking at peace with Thich Nhat Hanh, who is one of the greatest peace activists in our tradition. He's a Zen practitioner, but teaches very much from the Theravadan kind of view and Theravadan kind of language. And I wanted to share, I'm going to share my screen with you and show you a calligraphy that he, oops, that's not it. But I'll show you that in a moment. Bear with me while I find what I want to find. This calligraphy of peace. Okay. Well, I'm gonna play this song instead for the moment. This is a song from if I don't get this third time, I'm going to ask Andrea for help. I don't know, Andrea, if you could find Thich Nhat Hanh calligraphy about peace in the world, peace in oneself. But I'm going to play this song. This is performed by Sister Jewel, the lyrics by Thich Nhat Hanh, and really speaks to the sense of peace being the way. And the music makes me happy. And so I hope that you'll enjoy it. I'm going to play about 50 seconds of this. This makes me happy to feel into that, kind of lightens my heart. And in a way, it's so simple. And in a way, it's a lifetime of exploration and journeying how to do that. But the Buddha's instructions or guidance has given us some guidance in this. And Thich Nhat Hanh's calligraphy is a lovely calligraphy. It says, peace in oneself, peace in the world. And that makes, that at the same time, oh, Andrea found it. Thank you so much, Andrea. It's just a lovely kind of centering, gata, short phrase. Thank you, Andrea. And sometimes when I'm feeling far away from peace, I can feel in my heart, well, I mean, that's kind of naive, isn't it? Peace in oneself, peace in the world. Look at the world, look at the state of the world. And when that happens in my heart, what I say is that, what's wise or is that I know for sure that if I have peace in my heart, my small world, my world inside my heart and the world immediately around me is affected for sure. And we know that. Whoever it is I'm living with, my neighborhood, my friends and family. So we can affect the world for sure. Thich Nhat Hanh says this, of course, and of course we know this. We're just reinforcing it for ourselves. He says in the book that he wrote called Peace is Every Step. In fact, he wrote a lot of books about peace. Peace is Every Step, The Art of Peace, Touching Peace, Being Peace. Peace was a big theme for him. Of course, he is an activist around the world for peace. And he says, if in our daily life we can smile, if we can be peaceful and happy, not only we, but everyone will profit from it. This is the most basic kind of peace work. So I want to talk just a little bit tonight about this inner peace work and then a little bit about outer peace work. just as a way of enlivening and energizing it for us. As I look around the room, I'm pretty sure that everyone here is a peace worker in your own way. I think about this inner peace and what is it really? Some of the things for me that I know I create struggle in my being. I create conditions of agitation easily. And Thomas Merton totally hits a nail on the head with this quote that he's talking about inner violence. And you probably know this quote. He says, "To allow oneself to be carried away by a multitude of conflicting concerns, to surrender to too many demands, to commit oneself to too many projects, to want to help everyone in everything is to succumb to violence." Of course, not to discourage in any way our beautiful hearts for helping, but sometimes I can swing into that area where it's just lots of busyness in my life, even small busynesses. I keep myself busy trying to clear out all the clutter of my house, and small busynesses like that I can get up with. And I can understand that that's a creation of inner agitation. One of the stories I love in the Buddhist canon is a story of Angulimala. And Angulimala had a lot of internal agitation. He had harmed many people in his life. He had regrets, he had agitation. In fact, he had killed many people. He was a murderer. And he was planning on carrying on. He was planning on killing the Buddha. And I can just imagine the violence in his heart. And so he laid a trap for the Buddha, and he started running towards the Buddha to ambush him and kill him. And he was running, and the Buddha was up ahead walking so slowly, each step. And Anguli ran a little harder in order to catch him. And the Buddha was walking. And Angulimala ran harder and harder, faster and faster. And finally the Buddha was and he couldn't catch up to the Buddha. He couldn't catch up. The Buddha was just walking. And he ran as hard as he could, as fast as he could, and he couldn't catch up. And finally he shouted, "Stop!" to the Buddha. And the Buddha turned around and said, "Angulimala, I have stopped. When are you going to stop?" And in that moment of great compassion, Angulimala completely, his mind just opened, and he was able to become a peaceful person. And he said later that it was the compassion that the Buddha showed him that allowed his mind to soften and his heart to soften and turn towards peace. And then Thich Nhat Hanh says this about inner violence, inner agitation. He says, "I would not look upon my anger as something foreign to me that I have to fight. I have to deal with my anger with care, with love, with tenderness, with nonviolence." And so we can offer this compassion to ourselves. We can invite, if we have a difficult time, we can invite the practice of compassionate peace, compassion for ourselves. May I be kind in this moment. And Thich Nhat Hanh says, of course, we do not practice always for the sake of the future, to be reborn in a paradise, but to be peace, to be compassion, to be joy right now. Now I'm hearing that song in my head again. Peace is the way. I won't get the tune right, but you know, it's that little. That's why Thich Nhat Hanh's community sings those songs, because they can get stuck like an earworm in your mind. So you can just letting them run in our hearts and minds can let that truth that we can be peace right now sink in. Of course, when we feel into this being peace, then how do we let it flow out in the world? And one of the greatest stories, or there's many stories, but Maha Ghosananda of Cambodia is a wonderful example of peace in the outer world. Of course, in Cambodia, he and his community suffered extreme hardship in the 70s, and extreme violence in their country. And he returned to his country from India in 78 and began peace walks, peace marches through the countryside of Cambodia, which was still dotted with mines, live mines. And he walked communities who'd been in refugee camps home to their homes through these minefields, chanting the chant of peace. And when he visited the refugee camps, chanting the teachings of the Buddha and the chants of peace, people wept because they hadn't heard the chants for so many years. And of course, he went on to be a great peace activist in Cambodia. And this is his prayer. The suffering of Cambodia has been deep. From this suffering comes great compassion. Great compassion makes a peaceful heart. A peaceful heart makes a peaceful person. A peaceful person makes a peaceful community. A peaceful community makes a peaceful nation. A peaceful nation makes a peaceful world. A peaceful world makes a peaceful universe. And if we feel like that's too big of a stretch, we can come to this universe, this world, the world of our friends, family, and community. And so I'm also inspired by the Buddhist Peace Fellowship, which was inspired by Thich Nhat Hanh. It started 40 years ago and has worked for peace around the world since then. And I looked on their website today, and they have a quote from Lama Rod Owens, who is a Tibetan and teaches very much in our tradition as well. And this was they have an inspirational quote on there every day. This is the quote from Lama Rod, and I love his call to peaceful action. He says, "A shout out to all of us who are struggling today. If you are praying, keep praying. If you are working, keep working. If you are crying, offer your sadness to the ancestors. If you need to rest, let the earth hold you. If you feel overwhelmed, go and let the silence find you. If you are numb and terrified, call on the Mother. If you are feeling stable and resourced, dedicate some of that energy to others who feel depleted. If you are giving up on love today, it's okay. I will love on your behalf and know that I am offering it back to you. Calling on the blessings of Audre Lorde, may I erupt into spontaneous joy, and may this joy be how I wage political warfare." So it can come in all flavors. Joanna Macy says, "Active hope is waking up to the beauty of life on whose behalf we can act. We belong to this world." And she talks about 3 ways we can act for peace. One is withholding actions. And she says this is essentially what we normally call activism or direct action. It's getting out there in the streets and saying a holy no to the destructive and unjust practices that are taking place on the planet right now. The second is structural change, where we actively work to build new structures, new ways of doing things. And the third way of being peace in the world is through a shift in consciousness. And this is the work, the inner spiritual transformation that we do. So all three of these are important in the peace work that Joanna Macy suggests, this model of peace work in the world. And I know that in our community, around the circle here, I know there are many ways of being peace in the world. I think of the people in our community who are working so hard right now with the COVID response in our neighborhoods in Saskatoon, working to deliver supplies and working for, there's so many ways of working for peace. People who are working with poverty issues and racial justice issues, and people who are shoveling snow in the neighborhood, offering peace to the neighbors. We can really see peace in, I think, most of what we do. We can see ourselves as peace activists in most of what we do. In Saskatoon as well, or in Saskatchewan, there are wonderful organizations like Stops to Violence and the Saskatoon Peace Coalition. All kinds of avenues for peace. Even if we're in COVID lockdown mode, we can be peace activists, inner and outer. So I want to just close with a poem from Rosemary Watoller Tromer called Peace. She says, and there on the to-do list, somewhere beneath post office and above pay the bills, is a single word not yet crossed out, peace. You've written it in ink as if to offer it permanence, an urgency that can't be erased. Every day you look at it, wondering if this is the day that goodwill will come as easily as changing the burned out light bulbs or taking the garbage out. You almost stop believing you will ever cross it off. After a while, it might seem just like any other thing you write on your list and then ignore, like clean beneath the piano or organize the garage. But then the news will shake you, will render your duties small, and you'll write it in at the top of the list, in all caps, underlined in blue, peace. Not something to do, but something to serve, something to practice as you move throughout the day, something to inform the way you fold the sheets, the way you drive to town, the way you attend the meeting, the way you make the call, write the letter, the way you do what must be done. Let's just sit for a few moments and make peace right here in our hearts, right here in this moment. And so settling in just with ease in the body, making peace, letting the words ripple, making peace with whatever's here. So friends, thank you for being on this path of peace and supporting this practice for everybody here today. I'm going to dedicate the merit of our practice. Just may the seeds of peace that we've just watered today grow and support our own hearts. And sensing the peace of the practice, that we can really, with our formal meditation, make peace with how it is in our hearts right now. Make peace with how it is. And right here in this moment, make peace. How we can search or look or call up the places in our experience which are peaceful right now. Calm, stillness in the body, in the heaviness of the body on the chair. And then knowing that we are a part of a large community around the world that walks this practice of peace, cultivates it in our hearts, and lets it ripple out to the world around us, each in our own way. May our practice here tonight support our own hearts of peace. And may this practice ripple out and be a cause and a condition for peace in the hearts of all beings, everywhere. Thank you, everybody.